Patrick led the charrette that Tree People pulled together 12 years ago, that some of you participated in, that cost-benefit analysis was created for this, that looked at how can we retrofit Los Angeles using existing funds that are flowing out and leaking out. We found like $20 billion if we pulled it all together that could put us on a sustainable path. Patrick has been leading charrettes all over North America at least. He is the James Taylor Chair in Sustainable Landscapes at the University of British Columbia. He's authored many books. There's a full bio in your folder, but he also is a master of helping bring people together to do extraordinary things. He's been leading some incredible planning in his part of Canada, in Vancouver region. I think he's going to tell us about that and several other things. I'll just stop and bring Patrick up. Another one of my heroes, somebody who I think, well, we'll all feel really honored to have you. Thank you.
Can you hear me in the back? Oh, so there's no actual... Okay, but the acoustics are good? You can hear me back there? Okay. It would be useful to get the lights down, though. Somebody can do that while I'm talking. I've only got 15 minutes, and as an academic, you know, we only speak in increments of 50 minutes, no matter what the topic. So this is going to be quite challenging. As a consequence, I'll use up some of that 15 minutes on an anecdote, which I was reminded of this morning during the first presentation that focused a lot on children. My son is now 12 years old. When he was 5, because I work in this business, probably he picked up a few of the things I might have said about global warming. Not sure. But anyway, one night in his room, half hour after bedtime, he's crying. So I hear him crying. I go into his bedroom. And of course, like any dad, I'm concerned and I don't want him to cry anymore. So I say, Will, that's his name. What's the matter? What's the matter, son? And he says, I'm really worried, Dad. And I said, well, what about? What are you worried about? And he says, well, I'm really worried about global warming. And the tears are streaming down. It was just a horrific sight. So wanting to alleviate his concerns like any father, I said, oh, Will, don't worry. It's going to be okay. It'll be fine. And he looks up at me with the tears still streaming down his face. And he says, that's easy for you to say. You'll be dead. Yeah. And that really stuck with me. And as I look around the room, there's a lot of people my age, baby boomer types who are at the peak of our careers and have the most authority. You're all in executive positions, very impressive group. And the kind of sad news or hard news is that, it's really up to us now as a group. Because if we don't actually do this in the next 10 years, my son's going to have a rough road. And my grandkids, of which I now have 4, are going to have an even rougher road. So the contradiction here is I think we've gotten good at what we do by doing it the way it has been done very excellently. And yet we're at a position with the authority to recognize that's precisely the problem. So there's a real conundrum here. I think almost all of us have seen the information that's been presented and now are sensitized and aware. The challenge is how do we collectively make this change from these positions of power within institutions that really don't want to change. So that's a little bit what my talk is going to try to be about. It's a way of thinking about how we can institutionalize change and make that part of our everyday practice. And for better or worse, it's going to require a whole new set of ways of collaborating with each other, cross-jurisdictional boundaries, cross-stakeholder boundaries, cross-even age boundaries, cross-political boundaries. The subject for that is called the charrette, but I want you to know that the charrette idea is actually just another word for saying doing things collaboratively and collectively and holistically rather than using narrow methodologies to solve very specific technical problems. So when Andy showed those separated circles, that's the way we work, narrow technical approaches. The charrette idea is the other diagram which brought all those circles together in a merged mess. Complicated, maybe. Organic, yes. Profoundly human, absolutely. Creative, you betcha. So that's where we're going to go. So let's see if I can figure out how to use this. So there's a kind of a theory, being an academic, there's kind of a theory piece to this. And there's 5 theory things I want to leave you with. And I have to go through this very quickly, so I apologize for that. But the first one is that, we have this new paradigm, sustainability, and it's a very unwieldy word, but it is the first time there has emerged a major theoretical concept that we are actually using in culture that connotes an integration rather than a disintegration. At any rate, that's underlying the charrette idea is that it's a method for integrating your thinking and your actions. The second theory piece is that we've operated on a what I and others would call a Newtonian conception of the planet or the cosmos. We see the world as mechanical. The alternative concept, which has emerged recently, is the world as an ecological system, certainly, or even an intelligent system, as the Gaia hypothesis puts it. That the universe is much more complicated in its interrelationships and its change in the way it exchanges its energy than any mechanistic model can provide. So that's the second basic theoretical change. The third part of this charrette theory is a problematic one. It's, in part, it asks the question, are humans even capable of thinking this way? And I think for us in our institutional sinecures trying to change the world from where we are, I don't think I'd get much debate when I say that one of the key implementation barriers seems to be, at the very least, a lack of familiarity among humans in thinking in integrated ways, but the potential that we're not even actually capable of it, that we are biologically not predisposed to be thinking in integrated ways with others, nor are we biologically predisposed to think in time horizons beyond like a month. The possibility of a terrorist, however remote, popping up from under the table is much more fearsome to the average person than is the absolute collapse of the planet and losing 3 or 4 of its billions of its people 50 years from now. There's no question that that's the way people think.